Live and learn.
Apple bottom jeans with the fur. With the fur. Hi, everybody. Hello. We heard y'all like guests on the Double D Experience, which is what you're listening to right now. Sometimes hedgehogs, sometimes echidnas, but always coming for that two-tailed ass. We got Koopa here joining us this time around. Once again,
I hate you, David.
I believe our first recurring guest and the first guest we've ever had on this shitty little show that we got going on for us. We already know Koopa. He's a resident Smashcaster. Recently did Genesis, which I believe back in the day was his breakout tournament, and has been one of my essentially my commentary dad. If anything, like he's literally been like my guru in that kind of sense. I've known Kyle for a real long time, and he's the best, and he's really fun and attractive and funny, and he's a good person. Hi, Kyle. What's up?
Thanks, son. I'm doing good. It's still very jarring to me, to be the old man in the room when it comes to being a commentator, because like I had a severe deja vu when I was in California this weekend. I was like, it's like, I stayed at this hotel, I pooped in this bathroom like 5 years ago. Like it was cool. It was cool.
Yeah, your beard's officially thicker than mine now too. So now you're actually my dad. Yeah.
This is years in the making, man. This is 3 years strong almost. So
I remember when you first grew that. You used to have like the mustache chin badger combo.
No. I never had the mustache because I always. So here's my notion when it came to the facial hair. Okay.
Right.
I for the longest time had a goatee on the bottom of my face. It was
the goatee. That's what it was. My bad.
It was the goatee. I for the longest time I was just like, I don't know if I can grow a full beard. I don't know if I have the gusto for a full beard. And it wasn't until my dad pulled me aside. He's just like, look at the bottom of your fucking face, and you're trying to tell me that you can't grow that all over it. I'm just like, true. Because there's. Go ahead.
Holy shit!
I was gonna say because there's older pictures of me where like sometimes the goatee is like here, but sometimes it's like a fucking skunk like sprawled across the bottom of my face because I just didn't know how to properly angle my beard. So I'm just like, yeah, I guess I can grow this everywhere? Question mark.
The same thing happened to me because when I was at Collision a week or two before that, my barber accidentally did my beard above my jawline. So it was sort of like a different sort of style, right? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I could go with this at first. I don't know how I feel about it, whatever. And then my mom called my face fat. So, after that and a proper roasting from Trevor, of all people, I decided to shave my whole beard and get it back in. And ever since I started doing my beard stubble-wise, just saying, women have been talking to me different. So I'm going the James Franco route, just minus the fucking 17-year-olds. That's what I'm going in for.
So
but
if you two ladies are finished talking about your beard,
we are finished talking.
Can we talk about the movie? Thanks.
All right, we are here bringing Koopa. Anybody who knows Koopa and is a big fan of Koopa, like I am, knows he is truly the Sonic aficionado, him and his boy Camelang. And no Camelang in sight, unfortunately, right now, but we do have one of the halves of that whole with us today in Koopa, who's a diehard Sonic fan. Saw the movie a little later than you did. I liked it for the most part. I took some pretty detailed notes after watching Arlo's review, who fucking hated that movie. Like, I have never seen him be more upset about anything in his life. Like, there was not even any background music playing in that video. That's how serious he was about it. So, before we even get into the nitty-gritty of it, I'm going to talk to the biggest Sonic fan in the room right now. Initial thoughts, honestly. Let's give a TLDR first, I guess.
Let's
How did
also
you feel?
do like a clockwise thing. So after Koopa, we'll like go
Sure.
on.
So I've only seen the movie once. I've been trying to go see it a second time. I did a review of it on my podcast with Camelange and company. He's seen the movie now, I think 3 times. So
God damn.
it's mostly for like
That's
merchandising
like him,
purposes, because like certain theaters have like certain promotions where it's just like, oh hey, if you come on this day, we'll give you free shit. So it's like, that's an incentive to get people to go back to the movies. I didn't have shit at my theater. I just had popcorn. But no, listen, our first impressions coming out of the movie, I liked it. I thought it was, my thing with sequels is that if you can expand upon the story that you told in the first film in a way that doesn't suck, I like it. And at a baseline, I was, pleasantly surprised. Was it there's some things that still bugged me, obviously. But I think in terms of video game movies, if I'm talking adaptations of media that exists somewhere else and you put it on a movie, I'll go out on a limb and say it's the best video game movie.
Okay.
Bar none.
Okay.
So I'll go out on that limb as my spoiler-free review. So if you liked the first movie, you're going to really like the second movie. So I think you should go watch it if you're on the fence.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, David.
Just
you
an
next.
FYI. Just an FYI. This is not gonna be a spoiler-free.
Yeah.
Review
Just to get that out there.
Just letting you all know, right? Turn it off if you haven't seen it or you wanna.
Within the allotted time that we have, we will pick apart this movie as much as we can. And doing that, obviously, we're gonna be going into a lot of plot points. So obviously, if you haven't watched the movie yet, and I mean, I don't blame you because it took me at least 3 weeks after this movie came out for me to go watch it. So I mean, if that's the case, okay. But if you don't want spoilers, then click off and get the fuck out of here.
I like a nice empty theater for my massive legs. It's very important to me.
Yeah, David's literally 70% leg and 30% torso.
It is not an exaggeration. That is the sad
You're
part.
like Timmy Turner's dad.
God,
all leg, no chest.
That's not something I don't want to talk about. Timmy Turner right now. I don't want to talk about him right
David,
now.
your thoughts?
I don't think anybody wants to talk. Honestly, I definitely agree with Kyle on the fact that I will say easily one of the best, if not the best, video game movies ever made. Mm-hmm. And that's a low fucking bar. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a low bar. Video game movies are notoriously bad. So for some people like Arlo, who I can see saying it's a children's movie isn't an excuse for this or that or what they saw in the movie. That's a whole separate argument. We could get into that later. I can understand that. But honestly, I'm in that same boat of it being it was just as fun as the first one. Mm-hmm. Very, very, very fan servicey. A lot of the movie is references. A lot, obviously. The tornado. I'm pretty sure, and this went over my head, I think they actually referenced Ugandan Knuckles. At some point during the film. And somebody said they did, and I don't remember that. But if they did, that's tragic. If that's what went down. But honestly, the movie was just really, really fun. The action sequences were, I feel, a lot better than the first film. I didn't notice any really bad visual effects or anything like that. It was really, I went in expecting what I was expecting, and it was what I was expecting was just a very solid, fun, dumb adventure movie. And that's exactly what I got. So for the most part, I liked it, though that does not mean I don't have my gripes with it, which we'll get into a bit. So Dennis, you're
My turn.
your turn.
My turn.
Your turn.
I get, and I'm gonna also preface this little TLDR real quick. As a guy who hasn't watched the first movie yet, and going into this completely at least kind of blind. I mean, I knew what happened in the first movie. I Wikipedia'd it like any normal person would. So right. I already kind of knew what the fuck was what was there gonna happen. But I also I'll have to say, at least my initial feelings coming out of it, I was definitely at least, I mean, it wasn't anything groundbreaking, obviously, but I had fun with it. And I think it's one of those few movies that I've come out of it thinking I didn't even care of too much about the flaws of it, in my opinion. I came out of it just knowing I had fun with it. I liked it. Cringy as fuck on certain parts, but it's just this is a kid's movie. Obviously, it's going to be appealing to the demographic. Parents aren't going to be bringing their kids to Shadow the Hedgehog, the movie where he's going to shoot up the fucking city and everything. So obviously, going into it, I kind of knew that going in, but I think at the very least, it's and I know we were talking about how real quick, how it's one of those video game movies that actually even though the bar is just set so low, it actually goes past it pretty well. And at the very least, it did kind of had us come out of the theater liking it at the very least. And I also do think, the bar is set so low because the only other, at least as of this year, adaptation that we've gotten for a video game into a TV series or a movie was also the Halo series. And that series has been panned as utter dog water / shit across the board from everybody. So at the very least, Sonic can take that crown for this year at the very least. Just knowing that, I mean, we have this movie plus the Mario movie coming out later on this year. So that we're going to be also be talking about that as well. And if Koopa, if anything, please join us as well for that one as well.
Aww.
Yeah. And I think overall though, I'd give it an 8.
Pressure.
I think I think it was just good for what it was. I think if people go into this thinking that you're gonna find something deep about it, like you're fucking stupid, and you have to really like temper your expectations, like very much so. And I think if you go into this with the innocence of a child, at least like it within your mind, like you have that innocence, like you're gonna love this movie. You're gonna really like it, in my opinion. And plus, everyone, I guess I know maybe we're gonna save it for a bit later towards the episode, but that last post-credit scene that everyone has gone nuts about on the internet, like, is the main thing that I that was what I mainly went for. I wanted to see 10 seconds of Shadow, even though he didn't even say anything. I just wanted to see 10 seconds of him and just confirm it all, because I saw it already spoiled for me on TikTok, so I was like, fuck, now I have to see it.
And then you fucking spoiled it for me before we even went to go see it. But I knew that they were gonna bring in Sonic Adventure stuff into it. I knew that they were gonna bring in Shadow at some point. It's just the thing is, like, the bar for this movie was stay true to the source material.
Yeah.
And that's what people like about the new Sonic movies, because they do. I mean, I definitely think Kyle can attest to that.
Yeah, I actually brought this up on my show, but like when I saw the first Sonic movie, I watched it by myself because I couldn't get people to go with me. But
same, bro. I just got dumped. I took myself out on a date. I was in a theater by myself with a bunch of kids, like, all just screaming at the movie. I legit thought for a second that I was gonna get arrested. I got nervous, like, sitting in that theater, like, as the only, like, grown-ass man without a child by there. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just felt like that was important. Didn't get arrested.
Yeah, so, like,
was a pedophile at a movie theater. I feel as if that was important. Anyways, yeah, move on.
Oh, boy. So, I brought up this point on my show, but, you know, in a genre like we talked about, you know, they're still trying to get things right with the video game films, because, like, at best, these films are like niche, like, bad movies that people like to watch, like the Mortal Kombat films, the Street Fighter movie,
Super Mario Brothers
movie, yeah, like stuff like that. Like the peak for video game movies for a long time was Detective Pikachu, which was like, okay, cool. Yeah. And then, you know, I brought up how it was quite jarring that the franchise that can't seem to get anything right within the last like 10 years is the one that gets it the most right in regards to adapting it to the big screen. And you know, you look at how shows like, you know, like The Witcher have done so well on streaming. You know, adapting, people are like, you know, maybe TV is the better route for adapting video games, and then you get the Halo series, which I heard is not good. So, you know, we'll get there. I'll get there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll get there at some point. But neither way, yeah, it was strange that, like, that this, you know, despite the PR stunt that was that terrible first design of Sonic, everything about that movie turned out to be really, really good. And I came into this film with like moderately high expectations. I was just like, okay, like, it feels bigger. They're expanding upon the plot, and, you know, outside of a few instances of just like, you know, I could have done without like some of the human interaction. And I guess if we want to start like nitpicking, like, my biggest hang up from the film was I got mega cock teased by the trailers, because, you know, they're teasing us with these, you know, with bombastic video game remixes. You know, in that opening trailer for the film, I hear an orchestral version of Emerald Hill Zone. I'm just like, oh, they're going for it. This is great. And then, to my surprise, not a single remix in the game, in the movie. Now, one of my friends did point out to me that if you listen very faintly when Sonic is underwater, you might hear some semblance of like what is the drowning theme from Sonic, from the classic Sonic games. I didn't pick up that on my first watch through, so I'm gonna pay attention to that for my second time. But like, I felt kind of like, you know, a little tomfoolery by, you know, the directors, you know. Yeah, I was just like, you know, I wanted more of that, because at least in the first movie I got like, you know, a piano version of Green Hill Zone, and this I felt kind of a little let down by the lack of video game music.
Did you ask your friend if he was hallucinating? Because I did not hear shit at that spot, because I feel the exact same way. For me, what I was looking forward to the most among the trailers, and like, you know, the symbolism, Sonic standing on top of the building, you know, to mirror the beginning of Sonic Adventure, him going down the fucking mountain in the snowboard, the Sonic 3 stuff, something, Ice Cap Zone maybe. I expected at least an electric guitar song, I wanted something to like mirror Be Cool, Be Wild, and Be Groovy. and it was completely orchestral. I'm like, I literally groaned next to Dennis when they did that. I was like, really? You're gonna go that basic there?
Another thing too, yeah. Like I guess coming from my point of view, like throughout the whole movie, I would have at least loved just one, even a shitty one, like a Crush 40 song, at least one, somewhere like this around in the movie. Like it could be like a 10-second clip of one song. I wouldn't have cared. Like I would have just been like, yes, they know. Like I mean, because like it's just. Because I remember, David, I remember I sent it to you. Like, there was this one edit that this guy made of the final scene in the first movie where Sonic launches Eggman through the portal. And they overlaid the original music they had with it with Live and Learn from Crush 40. And in my brain, like, I know that, like, this movie, like, for all intents and purposes, and I know, like, people may give shit for it, but I love fan service. And I love it when fan service is like honestly done right.
90% of what this movie was.
I know,
yeah.
that's why. Like, that's why, in my opinion, like, you know, if for most like at least video game adaptations and even like obviously, whether it be movie, TV series, or even anything else, you better like give them fans them service. Like you better give it to them. Like you better give it to them in spades is also what I'm saying. And also, it goes to a certain point where, you know, you have to do it well as well, because like if you're just doing fan service for fan service, then it's like it's almost meaningless in that sense. Because
Sure.
like for me, like at least for Sonic, like, you know, there's like so many things that like about the franchise that people love, and sometimes it could be the music, sometimes it could just be like the overall aesthetic of it, like Green Hills, especially, like, you know, the way that I don't know if that town that was in the second movie was supposed to be like, was it called Green Hills? Like
It was
okay,
Green Hills, Montana.
Okay. So if anything, like, you know, knowing that, like all that kind of stuff we go into it, like even there's that one scene where Eggman has like Crush 40 in his fucking playlist, which I thought like oh, okay, they know, like the people who worked on this movie, I don't know like their names specifically, and I don't really know the main producer, but I'd like to think at least like a lot of the people that were on that project are big Sonic fans.
One of them was Jeff Fowler, who literally like worked on some of the cutscenes for Shadow the Hedgehog. So that's
okay.
Yeah,
that's
no,
good,
they did that. Meanwhile, you have the Halo show, who they didn't play the game.
They didn't play. They didn't play the game once.
No, Tyson Hess also was a big part on like he's like an executive producer on the Sonic the Hedgehog film that he started as like a Sonic parody like writer like back in the day. Like Nipples the Enchilada. That's Tyson Hess. That's my goat, and now he's like an EP on the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Yeah, which is kind of nuts. Yeah,
your fucking dreams, baby.
And
that's amazing.
I think it's also one of those few times, because like I know like The Witcher and a few other like series that have come out, like they have a lot of people on it that like are very passionate about like the IP and like it, and it shows. And I feel as if like you want a video game movie or a TV series to do well, you get people that are super passionate about it and throw them into that mix, and you pay them that money, and they'll make it great. And like I don't know why, I almost feel as if people would even think, oh, okay, well that's like the formula, right? So then why doesn't fucking Hollywood just do the formula? If you want money, just do it. And I'm also wondering how this Mario movie is gonna pan out too, because like I don't know who they have on. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there are plenty of people in Illumination that like just love Mario and they're gonna put their heart and soul into it. I don't know, but
may I cut you off very quickly just to say, Despicable Me 4 was completely delayed because they're putting all their resources into the Mario movie now. Like, they actually did delay a film to put it all into that. Still think that movie's gonna be dog shit.
I mean, you also know it's because like fucking Miyamoto cocked that shotgun and like pointed it at everyone's face and said, "You fucked this up, and I will literally personally go to your houses and kill you." Like he probably
cocked his coconut gun first of all.
Yeah, like he got the peanut pistols and just like pointed at both of them. It was just like, listen to me. I will fucking kill you if this movie does terrible.
I can only imagine how that meeting went down. But yeah, man, like as far as that,
they know what's at stake. Illumination, they know what's at stake. Like if they fuck this up, they're never gonna be working in Hollywood ever again.
And then there won't be an NCU, which Nintendo is saying is completely based on how this movie does. And I think there's going to be an NCU because the movie's going to be a success.
I want it.
It's going to be a success.
It's going to print money regardless.
Exactly. Yeah, so like even if the movie's dog shit, like if Mario comes out the gate sounding like Andy fucking Dwyer, like the movie's still, people are still going to come in and they're going to watch it. But
well, like the thing, I think something that gets like lost in a shuffle, because like I was doing this recently for a podcast, and The Despicable Me films are money printers.
Yeah.
So those films are like very much in like the top 50 grossing films of all time. Now, I haven't seen any of them. I have never watched a single Despicable Me property, anything. It's not for me. But those movies print money, and you know. So even if this movie, at its bare fucking minimum, was like Minions 3, Rise of Gru Part 2, whatever the fuck this next movie coming out is, it's still gonna print like at least $255 bajillion or something. Like, I have zero doubt in my mind that this movie, you know, Chris Pratt aside, is gonna make so much fucking cash.
I even think, like, you know, for Illumination especially, like, I think they also, like, I know I said it before, but like, just to reiterate real quick, and I guess to expand on it, like, you know, they know, like, that if this thing does well, and they want it to do well, I'm sure they do. Like, if this does well, like, this will put them like on the map forever, because they will become like basically Nintendo's, like, I mean, because here's the thing, Nintendo had a pick of all the studios within Hollywood, like every single one of them, and they chose Illumination out of all of them. And I think it's also because that I said this to David as well, like Disney and whoever else, maybe DreamWorks, like probably saw that price tag and were like, oh, we like, okay, how about this amount and then we'll do it. And Nintendo was like, go fuck yourself, and then basically went shopping around, and they found Illumination, was just like, okay, listen, we want you guys to do a Mario movie. Here is the budget that you'll be getting, and we expect this amount of cut, and that'll be it. And obviously Illumination, I don't know, for me at least, they've done some good work. They're not like up there with DreamWorks or Disney, like, in my opinion, but at the very least, like, they've done good work. So like, I think it's definitely going to be like a trial by fire a little bit for them, because this is probably the biggest project they've ever gotten on their plate, like on their lap, like ever in their entire like company's history, in my opinion. So like,
it is also worth noting that, you know,
there's a lot at stake, is what I'm saying too.
It also depends on, like, you know, the individual company and their track record of films. Not saying if the films are good or bad, but saying like the type of films that they make. Like DreamWorks, for instance, you know, they're more about cruder humor and like hidden adult jokes in literally every single one of their films.
That is okay. Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
Nintendo's not gonna want that in the Mario movie. That's not really what Mario is really about. And same with Nick in their own kind of way. It's like, it's part of like, and this could be explained by, like, you know, any voice acting teacher or, like, you know, voice actors who do it. Like, you know, it's part of how you audition for the parts in those kind of films. You do it based on, like, sort of the company that it is. Every company auditions for their stuff very, very differently. Like, Disney works very differently than DreamWorks does. It works very differently than Illumination, which is why I think Illumination, I used to, like, be kind of iffy about them because I looked at their track record of films, but now thinking about, like, the kind of stuff that they animate and specifically their animation style, I think it's actually perfect for Mario, if that makes any sense when you really get down to it. That wouldn't have really worked the same with, like, a DreamWorks film with the kind of stuff that they really make and stuff like that, as well as, and especially not with Disney, because I don't even want to imagine how much money that would have required in the first place.
And you also know, like, that Illuminate, like, Nintendo said that we want you to make and animate and model Mario in this way. And if you veer from it, you can go fuck yourselves, and we'll find someone else to do it. And like,
no company is more protective of their IPs than Nintendo, and we all know that.
There's no way in hell that they will ever allow anyone to like model Mario and animate him in a movie any more differently than how he looks like from the games. There's no way. So, like, Illumination saw that clause and was like, all right, yeah, we'll do it. And like, because it's, like as David said, I bet you the reason why, like, they probably just signed off on it so quickly, and I'm pretty sure that contract was literally flying off the table at that point, like, was because, as David said, I even agree. I think the animation style for a lot of Illumination stuff, and even for like Nintendo's kind of character designs, is pretty well aligned, I think, in my opinion. So they didn't really like feel as if the art direction was going to be going in no like crazy other direction. So I could agree with that.
Sega does what Nintendo don't, though. So they'll mold and, you know, like they'll mold that blue hedgehog like wet fucking clay. And that's one of the things that they definitely did around the beginning of the film. Like, can we talk about the dance-off scene very quick? Can we talk about that? Because I have some thoughts on that.
All right, go ahead.
First of all, horribly timed. Absolutely horrendously timed to portray Russians in that way.
I guess Siberia's in Russia. Yeah.
They didn't mean to do that, but they did. made him have a fucking dance-off to avoid getting thrown in a fire pit. Like, I gotta say, as dumb as that scene was, like, as you could say it was, or as tropey as it was, one thing. It's not a Sonic movie issue that, like, you know, it follows a lot of, like, kids movie tropes or anything. That's a Hollywood issue of them being piss scared to do anything different. Video game movie or not, you can't be mad at the Sonic film for that. Because, like, almost every single movie does that. Yeah, it's not an excuse for bad writing, which this movie is very guilty of at times. Very fucking guilty of, and we'll get to that in a bit. But, like, I'll say, like, a kid's movie like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs doesn't, you know, have those real issues of, like, following the kids' tropes or excuse bad writing, because I think that movie's brilliantly written. But
very mature, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah, exactly, and it still sticks true. Yep. But the thing is, even that scene sticks very true to the source material, because that scene's actually more about Tails than anyone else. Like, it's about Tails overcoming his confidence issues because of Sonic pushing him out of his comfort zone and believing in him. Tails' whole theme in Sonic Adventure is Believe in Myself. That's what that song is called. His whole thing is that despite how much of a genius he is, despite how tough he is, despite his abilities, he's not confident in his own abilities until someone who he idolizes puts him out there that kind of way. And what's something that's really, really scary and intimidating, especially like to a young mind who was, you know, who was the demographic for this movie? A dance-off. Something that you're like putting yourself out there in front of people like that. That's what that was actually about. Anybody who says that scene was actually completely useless, it wasn't completely useless. Like, yeah, like, was it too random and weird? Yeah, but that scene, especially because of the dialogue that Sonic and Tails after that about Tails not getting out or not believing in himself, that's literally what that whole thing was about. That's another beautiful way that this movie just sticks true to the source material, because that's completely true to his character and Tails' whole arc. So I actually liked that, and the only reason I felt like I had to say that is because a lot of people are dogging on that scene, like it was cold, pointless, completely random, and I'm like, I don't think you dug into it enough. That's just my personal opinion. You know, there's some scenes in this movie that were completely useless, and we'll get to that later on. But
the wedding,
that's just how I feel about
love weddings. My favorite 10-minute sequence that just would not end.
God, bro.
I'll give my point. Yeah, I'll give my points on that. I thought the dance stuff was funny. Because, you know, it's like,
I thought it was
like
cute.
You said,
I liked it.
It's very much like a character building thing between like Sonic and Tails. Like they have to reestablish this relationship because is like the most important relationship amongst the canon.
Exactly.
And it made for some great humor. Like I like the joke in the beginning of the film where like Tails asks Sonic's like, "Do you trust me?" And he's like, "Of course I don't. I met you 10 minutes ago." It's
I
like,
literally just met you.
Yeah, like that was funny. Tails commits Grand Theft Auto and then hits Knuckles with the car. Like that was funny.
Knuckles with the fucking cop car.
I even have to say, like, adding on to your point, Koopa, it's just it's one of those things too that people forget that like the movie was 2 hours, right? So they had a finite amount of time to, as you said, reestablish those relationships that we knew about and we knew and loved when we were kids. Because everyone who ever grew up with Sonic also knows, like Sonic and Tails are the best of friends, and then plus, you know, Knuckles comes in a little later. But like we have like a finite amount of time to establish that and establish it well, because you know, like. We don't have like it's not as if it's like a movie series or like not a movie series, like a TV series where like you have all the time in the world to go as deep as you want and like develop that relationship as meticulously as you want, like through the writing. And
like this episode's about filler, this one's about this character's character development, this one's about this. A movie, you have to squeeze all that in, is what you're saying. Yeah,
so that's why like I'm saying like I think at the very least, and going off of all like both of you guys' points, I think that part did impress me, because like there was a lot of shit that was kind of going on within that movie that like, you know, because there's like Knuckles' arc. Obviously, we have to deal with Eggman. Sonic is dealing with his own fucking shit. And then like Tails is also dealing with his own shit. And like everything kind of just all comes and culminates together towards the end. And like they all sort of realize like, oh, like let's be friends and like, and let's kick this fucker's ass. Like think who's up there. Like this guy's an asshole.
Yeah. And plus in that bar scene you get the Sonic Adventure pose reference, which is very funny.
Yeah, that
like,
was
I thought that was cute.
That was in one of the trailers. I believe they did that.
If it was, I don't remember it being there.
They're one of the stills. I don't remember. Like again, the references on point. That's the standard for the video game fills. Like. Yeah, but I'm just glad you agree with that, because no one really seems to understand that that's what that scene was about. You, like Dennis said, you have a finite amount of time to establish, these kind of characters, or to give you time to care about them, because they're marketing this film to everybody, not just to the video game people, but to people who have never heard of Sonic before, which is why they don't stray away from the tropes. That's just the reality. It's not the Sonic problem. That's a Hollywood issue at large. But the dance-off scene, I thought was a really good way to write that in. That's why I thought it was a good way to do that. And everybody thought just like, oh, kids like dance-offs, that's why we put that in. Like, they thought it was just part of the corporate checklist. Which is what I feel like the scenes after that were about in... Are we going to move on to it? In the wedding scene? You got before we go to that, what do you got?
I want to just say one thing.
Please.
And if they do this, I will actually hate this Mario movie forever. I swear to fuck, if like Mario Star-Lords like and tells them like, oh, dance off, like, and Mario dances in front of a guy and like just to distract him or some shit, I will actually be very angry.
What are you talking about? That's a reference to Dance Dance Revolution Mario Mix, bro. Literally the most popular Mario game ever made.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Professor Nintendo. Yeah, like
you're
the two people that played that fucking game.
Yeah, me and my sister, bro. You got a fucking problem with that? Are you kidding? The remixes in that game were heat, and I will die on that hill.
All right, I guess you're dying on that hill then. Dying alone.
I'm dying on the fucking green hill, bro.
But yes, we're gonna move on to this shitty fucking sequence that lasted way too.
My God,
long.
You all saw this part in the trailer. We all saw it. The part where James Marsden throws the ring and Sonic is like, racing through and goes through the portal out of Siberia on the mountain, and then, oh no, the wedding was ruined. There's snow everywhere in this warm climate in Hawaii. Like, there's that whole tiny little subplot of Tom's sister-in-law hating him. And like, okay, don't mess up the wedding. You better not mess up this wedding. He's gonna mess up the wedding. Whatever. We all know that. That was such a one-joke scene. Like, literally, this is the thing I agreed with, like, Arlo in his review the most, just to bring up his point again, is, like, Sonic ruins the wedding, they crash through a little bit more exposition of, like, Robotnik's back to stop and going through, cut, end scene, cut, right there. Instead, what happens, as everybody in this little podcast is aware, is that it turns out that literally everyone at the wedding, including the groom, was a fucking gun agent. And the whole wedding was a ploy to capture Sonic. How did they know that Sonic was gonna be there? They knew he was connected to James Marsden's character. They could have just gone to his fucking house. That's what Eggman did. He was smarter than all of them. Eggman just went to his house with Knuckles to fucking like bash on Sonic's door to try to kill the fucker. And the government just does this whole thing. Like, they thought that was such like a... They needed an excuse to write gun into the story because they're going the Sonic Adventure route. Like, in the next film. Like, they're going to make it about Shadow. It's going to be about Shadow and Maria. We all know that. Who, again, I'm still holding out for Amanda Seyfried or Anya Taylor-Joy to be Maria.
But Maria was like really an 8-year-old child, though. Amanda Seyfried's like
she was
28.
Older. No, she was older than 8. What are you talking about? Maria was like...
She looked like Alice in Wonderland, like 10, 12 years old to me. Like,
I haven't played Sonic Adventure in a while, so I got nothing.
In some of the scenes, if you look at him, I think she looks way younger than, like, even... a 14-year-old. I think she like looks like she's still in middle school, in my opinion.
You're not about to make me Google how old Maria is.
By the time of her death, go ahead, man.
I'm doing it.
Age
by the way, fun fact:
age
if
unknown.
you played Shadow the Hedgehog and you utilize the hero story, player 2 can plug in their controller and play as the hero character, including Maria. She is the only one that can't homing attack because she's a human girl.
I'll give it up.
Fun fact.
David just did like a Did You Know gaming segment right there for like 30 seconds. Did you know?
How old is Maria in... Oh, go ahead.
Well, yeah, while you Google that, before we nuke the podcast.
Oh, she's fucking 12.
I told you, bro. You fucking idiot.
Shit. Oh, the first thing that comes up is a hedgehog version of her.
Yeah, that's boy, terrifying.
Oh, it's getting into the Sonic. I'm
so Gerald Robotnik's like his plan for the ultimate life form.
Wiping my hands clean of that slate right now. I'm not going into Sonic OC territory. Not live on the show.
Good lord. Oh yeah, go ahead.
God, I have a couple thoughts on the wedding scene. For initially, like after first view, I'm just like, or my only view watching. I'm just like, okay, I could have done without this. However, I was just like, you know what? it was funny enough to where I'm like willing to let it slide. There's a scene I like less in this, a sequence I like less in this movie than that scene, for a couple reasons. Number one, in my opinion, best cameo in the film, Shamar Moore from Criminal Minds, playing the husband of Rachel.
I never watched it. I didn't even know.
Yeah, that was when I saw it. I'm just like, oh shit, like that's kind of like a big get. He's in a lot of very popular like crime dramas, so I was like, okay, that's cool. Obviously it serves more as a purpose just to like introduce Gunn into the fold, and I liked it mostly from the standpoint of like, okay, I get to see more Tika Sumpter do stuff because like she kind of did nothing in the first movie, and like to see like that fun little action sequence. Beautiful woman, by the way. Absolutely.
I definitely am not going to complain about seeing more Tika Sumpter. I definitely will not.
I'd agree.
Yeah. So that for me, if the scene wasn't so funny, like if some of the jokes weren't so funny, like I just think watching Rachel go full Bridezilla and like almost kill Randall with the golf cart, I was like, that's funny. I thought that was, and also it sets up the lore that Tails steals a plane to get the tornado, which is fun.
So yeah.
So for me, I understand. Like most of the human stuff in this movie doesn't work for me. I just wish, again, it's just one of those things. Just like, okay, I have more Sonic characters here. I want to see more of the Sonic characters. As much as I like James Marsden, I want Cyclops to be my dad 10 times out of 10. Like the whole Sonic nuclear family thing was a little uncanny, but like I kind of dig it, and I liked their chemistry, but like. There's that scene in the coffee shop where like Stone's being held hostage by the cop.
Wade the cop, yeah.
Worked much worse for me. By the way, another great reference in the movie. By the way, the Mean Bean. Well, Chef Kiss.
Oh, I loved that. Yeah, I pointed that out too. And even before, like
10 out of 10.
Right when me and Dennis saw the Mean Bean, this is probably. I mean, me and Dennis laughed a lot. Like the fact that I saw it with him is what really like added a lot to the humor of it for me. When he had the picture of Eggman drawn in the latte. we both lost it. Like we were just both whispering to each other like, my love.
The way they like cut into it as well, because it went from his face to right down, like it just cuts right to the freaking latte, and it like low key just like comedically shocked me that I was like, oh.
That really, really got me. I'm not gonna lie. I loved Agent Stone. I love Agent Stone. We stand Agent Stone on this podcast.
I honestly also like to believe like his actor is a bit familiar to me, but like I also just love to think like that was just him like IRL simping for like Jim Carrey, because like Jim Carrey is like a lot of people's like heroes, especially when it comes to like comedy actors, because. Like I've only seen Jim Carrey do a couple of serious roles, and even then I was like, nah man, I only know you as the Mask, I'm sorry. Like, and now as obviously Dr. Eggman, but he was honestly one of like, I think he was the best human character out of everyone, even though he was the biggest simp out of that entire cast of like characters, because he just loved Eggman like so fucking much. And like I think it's just like the way he was written, and even like just his comedic timing, like for a lot of his scenes. I can't really go into specifics off the top of my head because I only just saw it once. Because like I almost feel as if I want like a photographic memory of the movie, I need like 2 or 3 rewatches to like actually know everything inside and out, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, that's why I took notes. Yeah,
like off the top of my head, like I actually really did like him as like as a supporting character. He was honestly like one of the better human characters out of that entire cast. Like bar none, because he was just entertaining to watch, like from beginning to end, like from the fucking coffee scene to when he's literally in the death robot and everything. Like I was like, imagine having a friend like that. I even thought of it like that. Imagine having an employee like that who just fucking will die for you. I honestly thought like just the loyalty alone was like refreshing, because like this guy literally would have died for Eggman, and he would have, and if Eggman said like jump, he would have asked how high.
He very well could have. We don't know what happened. We don't know what happened to him after the fucking robot was destroyed.
Do we not see like what happens to him?
No.
I mean, I guess it's kind of, implied that he died like along with Eggman.
We also never see what happens to the golden retriever after Sonic's house is wrecked by Eggman. Oh, wait, no, yeah, we do. Now, he's at the end of the film. I'm dumb. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'm stupid. I just wanted to pull at everyone's heartstrings about the death. Yeah, the wedding scene, man. I just think they easily could have introduced Gunn in a different way. At the very least, one that didn't last that long. I kind of agree with like Arlo's point on that again. Like that whole scene felt like, a trope that like, whatever like executive producers had to sign off on has to be in the film. Like if you want to make this, we'll give you as much free liberty reign as you want, but you have to include this scene, or Sonic has to play baseball at the end, or you have to do this, or Sonic has to say gotta go fast at some point in the film.
He has to eat a chili dog at least once.
Exactly. Like the trope. Like that whole scene, the fact that it goes on for 5 minutes about a side character that no one came to see the fucking film for, that had to have been part of some corporate deal, because I'm telling you, there's no way they watched the final cut of that movie and thinks, yep, this is all necessary. This is all completely necessary. This is crucial to the plot. This has to go in. Like, no. It wasn't. It was just not good.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was very poorly written, completely unnecessary. They could have introduced Gunn. They could have introduced Gunn way earlier by having them try to like show up to the house to try to get Sonic. If anything, they could have been hunting him throughout the movie, and then they go to Sonic's house and they see, oh, he's not here. Like let's get a hunt. They find one of his quills. They trace it to Siberia or whatever. It makes more sense.
Anything really. Like
Yeah,
they really could have done any other method to kind of introduce them like thing early on. And I even think like just because of like, I guess we'll go to the next part of the movie that I think everyone's been talking about, which is obviously the cameo scene and post credits of Shadow. And just because, and I want to go into it just because knowing where the next movie is probably heading, Space Colony arc, and if it's not, I'll actually be fucking, I'll be actually mad if it's not
They
Interstellar.
literally show Space Colony arc at the end of the film, Dennis. Don't worry.
So we like obviously know if anyone like for anyone who's finished the movie like and are here for spoilers, obviously like Shadow.
Where is Shadow?
Is in his test tube.
Where is Shadow?
In that underground lab, and he opens his eyes, and you see his eyes glowing. So we know he's like awake. He's very much awake. He probably will like level that fucking lab by himself if he wanted to. But
play Shadow the Hedgehog. He's a fucking god in that game. He like lifts trucks and shit.
Yeah, and
it's insane.
So I guess going into like what are our thoughts for the next installment, because I honestly
What are our thoughts? What are our hopes?
Thoughts and hopes. So thoughts and hopes for me.
What are our thoughts and prayers?
I want to see I literally just want to see Adventure 2 adapted to the big screen. I want to see Sonic like launch himself out of that gun helicopter and have City Escape playing as he's going down San Francisco.
That's what they did for Sonic X. That's what they did for Sonic X. It was a straight adaptation of Adventure 2.
So I want that. I want that with this movie. I want Biohazard. I want Live and Learn by the end. I want to hear Crush 40 at least like one of their fucking songs. I think that's honestly easily like their most iconic song, like flat out. And
actually, fun fact: City Escape is not a Crush 40 song.
Oh, it's not. Oh, that's right.
No, it's not.
That is true. That's true.
You know why I know this is because I have seen Crush 40 in concert.
Oh,
and they didn't play the song.
How was that? Actually,
they were fantastic. So it was only the frontman from Crush 40. Mm-hmm. I saw him at a convention a few years ago. They were dope. It was a lot of fun. I believe
awesome.
The gentleman's name is
Johnny G.O.L.E.
Yeah, Johnny G.O.L.E. Yeah.
How are his vocal cords?
He's doing good.
Good.
Shit,
Good.
okay.
He's good. He's hanging in there. He's doing a great job.
So
Crush 40. I just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying. The biggest my hopes and my thoughts and prayers also kind of align in the same area. The ones if we're talking just iconic songs from like that era of games, like I think they have to save like the video game music for whatever movie's coming next. If it's that direct adaptation of Sonic Adventure / Sonic Adventure 2 that we're gonna see. And if I don't hear like Live and Learn in any capacity, I'm gonna be very upset.
I have another one.
Yeah, same mountain scene. Like if they play like orchestral shit instead of like just putting that on there, man. Like even if it's like a modern band covering it, like make fucking Foo Fighters do it. Like have them like come in and like I'm like, oh, see, it's a modern band though, so it's like trendy or whatever. Like, I don't care if it's not involved in any capacity. that would have been bad. Like if Supersonic wasn't even in this movie, which he was at the end, you know, all that good shit. You know, I agree with you there, Kyle, and you too, Dennis.
Yeah.
To a lesser extent, you, Dennis.
I'll even say, fuck you, David. I'll even say, like, if they even did like a orchestral remix of like Live and Learn or any of the Crush 40 songs, or even like, you know, City Escape, I don't know how I would feel about. I really thought about it for the 10 seconds that I was sitting here, and I really thought like my initial feelings about it would be very lukewarm because I want fucking alternative butt rock in my fucking Sonic movie. I want it so badly. I want to hear it. And like, I mean, dude, I'd even like, this is getting into real fan servicey territory, but like, dude, if they even did like I Am, like All of Me, Shadow's theme while he's like in the movie, I'll go fucking ballistic. I'll literally go nuts.
Oh, the Shadow the Hedgehog soundtrack goes hard.
No, it does. It really does.
I Am All of Me is such a good fucking song.
I know,
I'm gonna
it's such
say
a good
very,
song.
very quick. Shadow the Hedgehog is the best bad Sonic game. That's my humble opinion. I love that game. It's so stupid, but I love that game to death. I think it actually continues the story from Sonic Adventure 2 very well, but everybody just looks at the gameplay and looks at the and everything else.
Plot-wise, it does.
Plot-wise, it's a fantastic
that's
game,
also
but
half-
a lot of the other
that's half
stuff is
of it.
dog shit. And also,
Yeah.
Shadow's just a fucking tank in that game. He just does so much dumb tanky shit, like lifting trucks and standing in the air holding a fucking minigun in one hand and like firing at people. Like, it was fun to control. But that's a whole separate discussion.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that like I want to say what Dennis told me when we first talked about Sonic 2 when the movie first got announced. I want whenever like Shadow's in a fight scene and he's like down for the count. You already know where I'm going with this, Dennis. You already know where I'm fucking going with this.
Go ahead.
That Dennis Shadow's just down for the count. He slowly opens his eyes. It's all blurry and everything. He looks to his left. He slowly turns to his left and he sees a lone pistol on the ground. And then he looks at that pistol and he thinks about it for a good minute. And then he just like just shuts his eyes and turns away like, not this time. Like just turns away after that. They need to do that. If they reference how shit of a game that was, I will die on that hill. Because they did it, remember, we were talking about Johnny Gioeli's like pipes during the concert that they did for the Sonic live stream when they first announced Sonic Mania. They literally rip on Sonic 06 in that fucking in that live stream because like they're putting out a fun fact for every game or whatever, or showing a sprite or whatever, and when they do it for Sonic 06 it just says now loading. That's all it says. It just said now loading. I'm like, they're so fucking aware. Sega does what Nintendo don't in that department.
They do, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the third movie, we already know it's going to be just as fan servicey as these other ones were, and I'm about it. I'm about it. I'm sorry, but I'm a big fan.
Like, I want to see Interstellar Sonic. I want it. I want it.
My thing going into this is like I knew there would be a post-credit scene. I didn't expect to get Shadow. Truthfully, I thought we'd get Metal Sonic before we get Shadow.
Ooh,
and who's to say? And who's to say we still can't get both? Like I have a feeling, where they're gonna want to try to go with this. Like they already like. Another little Easter egg that we didn't mention is that on the helicopter that flies into Green Hill, if you look very closely at it, it says SA2 on it. So it's like,
I saw that. I pointed that out to Dennis actually.
Yeah, they're very clearly like setting that stuff up, and I don't know how like crowded your theater was, but like my theater got like too very loud for the two big things that happened in this film, both being Supersonic and Shadow showing up. So like my biggest thing going into this is that I have a feeling, because there's at least 3 canonized Sonic characters in this movie, they could very easily pull in 2 more Sonic baddies if they're gonna, because it's implied, because like you know it's very much implied that Dr. Robotnik does not survive his crash, given that Jim Carrey is now he's retiring from acting. I don't know if they'll bring him back or not. Truthfully, I don't know if that's.
I think they will, because
if the money's right, I'm sure he'll come back.
That, and also like Jim Carrey. I told this to David. He's
they
at that
started
point
filming the third one already, though. Like they started filming the third one like immediately after the second one. I think. I think he's at least.
I have no idea.
Okay,
I think he's at least going to be in the third one, and they might try to round about a trilogy.
Then
we'll see.
I also just wanted to say too, like it's I feel as if like he's like Jim Carrey's like at that point in his career where like he said he was like semi-retired. He's like basically like Daniel Day-Lewis in the sense where like I don't seek roles, you give me roles, you tell me what movie you want me to be in. And for him, like Jim Carrey right now, like he's like at that very almost mythical status. Like even though like most people, you know, his movies being mostly just comedy, like thing, but we know him for a lot of things like The Mask and Yes Man and a few other stuff, obviously.
And
like
the Truman Show, you know,
and the
which
Truman
is
Show,
an
yeah.
immaculate film.
So like so we know that like, you know, he can literally like, he can go into any role he wants, honestly, at this point. And I feel as if like they've already approached him too, at least once, that like, hey, like, you know, like if this movie does well, like would you be welcome to come into a third one? And I think personally for me, he actually had a lot of fun. He loved this project. He personally said it on many interviews that like he loved being in this movie. He loved working on it. He just loved the heart it had and everything. So at the very least, like, you know, he's like, I think it's also kind of refreshing for him to be a part of a project that's like, you know, got this much heart and soul into it, because like, you know, again, like we even said, like you want a video game movie to do well, you get people that are fucking almost half crazed about the IP and put him in that movie and just let him go nuts with it. And it's what saved a lot of franchises too, believe it or not. Like,
sure.
So I think personally he will be there, and I will even go on further to say that since we're probably gonna get Gerald, his fucking grandfather, it'll literally be Jim Carrey being got the old man makeup and the mustache even more fuzzy and like twiddly. That it's just gonna be Gerald on the screen, and like it's just gonna be Jim Carrey old on the screen, and then right on the other side it's just gonna be Jim Carrey again as Eggman, staring at his reflection and being like, "Oh wow, damn grandpa, like you look, like, oh fuck, you look just like me."
It'd be just like the fan dub. Daddy. No, I would like that for the humor, but I personally think that would be kind of. I would prefer them to get like, you know, like a bigger name star just for that one brief cameo of Gerald.
I think Gerald Robotnik has Jack Black written all over it.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Oh,
or Chris Pratt. I don't know. He's available. So like,
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see Fat Eggman.
Yeah,
That'd
I know,
be great,
me too.
truthfully.
Yeah. Just like the
so like
the little like low key like fat suit, just like on the lower stomach, just right
Like
here.
have that be about like how he like got his egg shape. Like he just got depressed as fuck after losing to Sonic again, and then just like Fat Thor or whatever. I don't know.
Would like that. Yeah, I would like that.
I'll take it. Yeah. So I think the what I want for most out of this third movie is that I would, you know, if they're gonna play, you know, the game with Shadow as the lead, you know, why not introduce like another baddie like Metal Sonic or like Chaos, or like, you know, because the Chaos Emeralds at least exist in the canon. I feel like one of those things is coming next. I don't know what it'll be, but I feel like it's gonna be a very Shadow and Sonic centric movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now stems the also I want Amy in the next film. I think it's the fact that we haven't gotten a single like. I that's what I want the most. Like
the furries,
yeah, just
the
skipping
furries
CD.
will go nuts.
No,
They
no,
will
no,
go
no,
nuts if
Dennis-
Amy's brought in, or Cream for that matter. I just want Rouge. I want Rouge. I want my bad bitch Rouge. Like
that's what I was
in
gonna
this
say.
movie. Like she'll be like that, like, you know, double gun agent or whatever, like that she was, like I guess, you know, in the original games. And obviously, like, you know, in Sonic X, like we found out that, like, I think it's just followed the same plot line too. Like, yeah, Rouge is like a double agent of like 4 different organizations, including Eggman, and she just double crosses them all, and, you know, like, so, and I want, goddamn, I'm like thinking in my head who would play like, I guess, Rouge's voice actress, and like
Scarlett Johansson.
I was gonna it's the exact that is actually the exact same actress that I told Dennis is like overcasted as Scarlett Johansson is, as much as Hollywood like sometimes treats her like she's the only actress in Hollywood. Yeah, no, she'd be perfect as Rouge.
Yeah, like the
I'm not
husky.
gonna lie.
She's got like the tone of voice. Like,
yeah.
For me personally, like I talked about this on my show too, about like, you know, we mentioned how like Colleen O'Shaughnessy was like the only of the video game actors that come back to reprise their role, like, you know, in the movies. And like I think Ben Schwartz and has done a fair job as Sonic. I think Idris Elba crushes it as Knuckles.
Yeah.
I think this might be my favorite iteration of Knuckles, truthfully. He it's a home run.
We hardly
like
talked about
10.
Knuckles. Yeah.
The best part of this movie, honestly.
God.
I am in a
God.
I will climb. Oh, there's stairs.
Dot.
Like best joke in the movie.
Dot. dot.
He's a
Dot,
unit.
dot.
He's like a unit in this movie. Holy shit!
yeah.
Like
He's so funny.
yeah, and I know like it just like they just probably told you just like make him sound stupid, but not that stupid. Like, like make him talk as if he's in a bad Shakespearean play.
Yeah.
But at the same time, make him a little slow. Like,
Yeah. Real quick.
Very Drax. Very Drax.
yeah.
Yes, I was just gonna say that though too.
Yeah.
Like if you like Drax from Batista from Guardians of the Galaxy, you'll like Knuckles.
Yeah.
The last point I wanted to make is that if they have to go either two ways with Shadow. They either have to go way over the top and get like an A-list actor to voice him, or it has to be Kirk Thornton, and that's it.
John Bernthal.
See, I saw that. I saw the John Bernthal. I'm just like, okay,
but
it works. But that role has Keanu Reeves written all over it.
Oh,
Truthfully.
Keanu is
Yeah.
Shadow. Oh, fuck. I didn't
so
even
we
think of
got
that.
we got two guys, but I always just joked with the John Bernthal thing because it'd be so funny if Shadow was like the most like New York, New Jersey ass sounding fucking hedgehog out of that entire cast.
Where's
Like,
that damn fourth chaos in?
What's good, dickheads? We live out here trying to find that last damn Chaos Emerald.
It's like that other, like that scene from fucking Wolf on Wall Street. It's like, Maria, what the fuck did I tell you? I told you to bring me the ketchup bottle 4 fucking times.
Is that how she died? Is that the reason?
Like it's not, not the gun agents. He just beamed the fucking ketchup
Death by
bottle.
Glizzy with no bev.
Yeah, like right to a fucking head.
Yo, Genesis 8 be like,
Oh yeah.
Hey man,
And
those street hot dogs fucked. I'll go on a limb and say that they were great.
one, I guess, a couple of additional things, and I guess we'll just wrap it up real quick. I was telling David that like the lead gun agent, the old man who we see from this movie and plus the last movie, I have a very strong feeling, and I told David this before, that he is probably gonna be tied to Shadow in that he was there that night when they had invaded the space colony, and then also like were the ones that were pursuing Maria and Shadow through the halls, and then like obviously we get to that scene where like does she puts him in a capsule or whatever, right? And then like after that she just like launches him down to Earth.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so he was basically the one that like I told Dave, he is on Shadow's shit list. Like as soon as he gets out, he's gonna hunt this fucker down. At the very least, like if he sees him, he'll know like exactly who he is, and like and also like what he had done, because like up to that point, like we got the amnesia after Adventure 2, so like this is when like all of the wounds are very much fresh for him, and he has a very, very strong hatred towards humanity. So at the very least, like we'll probably see him shooting up like a city or two at least like once. So like I think I think everything that we've seen from this movie is gonna tie in very well with the next one with Shadow, because like Gunn's finally coming into play like in a much more bigger role now, and I honestly feel as if like the guys behind the movie have literally have a great premise in the form of Adventure 2's plot right on their hands, and all they have to do is just adapt it in a tasteful way that it'll print money for them. This is literally like the easiest job as a writer I think that I've ever seen. Like you have a great plot.
$270 million at the box office already. This film.
You have a great plot for your third movie in the form of this fucking game that came out like 15 years ago. Just adapt that into a script, and that's all you have to do. Your job couldn't have been any easier, honestly. Like you have a great beginning, middle, and end, and the end being both Sonic and Shadow becoming Super Sonic and Shadow and fighting Biohazard up in fucking space. How much more do you need to get that hype train fucking rolling? How much more do you need? Honestly.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I echo a lot of those same sentiments. Again, like it's to keep the baseball, motif going. They're throwing him a fastball right down the middle. All Jeff Fowler has to do is wake up and just crush it.
Yeah, they're gonna hunt. They're gonna hunt Sonic instead, and the way the movie's gonna be marketed is gonna be like Sonic versus Shadow, the hero.
Light versus dark, hero versus dark,
dark. Which is which? Because that's the whole theme of Sonic Adventure 2 is that they're gonna
worthless
hunt
consumer
Sonic
model.
instead. Worthless consumer. And as much as I want to see like Rouge's gigantic corona-filled bat titties. Like as much as I want to see those COVID-19 filled bat titties, maybe they'll make her a human, but I doubt it. Like maybe they're just gonna think she's like too. I think what's actually gonna happen is that she's gonna be a bat, but she's not gonna be as
chesty.
If you know what I mean.
Sure.
I think they're gonna like pull it up a little bit more, understandably so, because Rouge as a child with the jiggle physics made me happy in a way that I didn't understand when I was like fucking 8 years old or whatever playing this game. So we don't want no kids to get all horned up in the theater.
She got me so confused as a child. I was like, are bats supposed to be like this? Like,
it's like, well,
yes.
I like Batman, but she's a bat and
Batwoman.
But the Batwoman.
Whoa. Now,
gotta talk about
so I think the thing that stands out to me most about this film is that, and I saw someone tweet this, so this is not an original thought whatsoever, but a Harry Potter movie came out this weekend and nobody was fucking talking about it.
Nope.
No one gave
because
a shit.
Sonic absolutely crushed it.
It was Birds of Prey. It was Birds of Prey again. You remember Birds of Prey?
Yeah.
Is what came out
Yeah.
like, when the first Sonic movie came out. Fucking destroyed it in the box office, I think. People were comparing the two. Biggest apples and oranges I've ever seen in my fucking life. Just like, Sonic's better than Harley Quinn. No, Harley Quinn's better than Sonic. And be like, okay, yeah, and I also think that Albert Pujols is better than LeBron James. It's like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what?
Oh, man.
It doesn't make any sense. But
I also have to say, like, I guess closing thoughts. Yeah, like it's little bit of a conclusion here. Like, this is one of those movies that I feel as if, like, people like who grew up with the games, and then even like people who are like coming into Sonic for the first time and like just realizing how big of a fucking franchise it is, because a lot of kids don't know what the fuck Sonic is. And I know like people would maybe like agree to disagree on that, but like I almost feel as if like for like the people who grew up with it, now they're parents and now they're showing their kids like, that's like, that was like my character. Like for me, like that was the person that like, or the character of the game that I played when I was like your age, and this was like they would be like, that was my Fortnite, like as how Fortnite is to kids nowadays. And because like I almost feel as if nowadays like we don't really have like too many like iconic like IPs the way that like the ones we grew up with from the 90s, in the same way like Mario and like Sonic are, like Link and a bunch of other obviously like Nintendo characters that everyone here probably has grown up with at least once. And I think it goes without saying too that like it's another thing, video game adaptations can be done well, like into media, like into other media, like whether it be TV or into movies. Like it can be done well, you just need to get the right people on it, and you like at least need one guy who lives and breathes that IP. Just one dude, you just need one guy, and just let him lead it, let him be the like lead producer for it, and just let him go fucking nuts with it. And and I guess last thing is that like this movie gets me very interested, and I'm also I'm holding my breath here, but at the very least I'm very interested as to how that new Mario movie is going to turn out, because at the very least, like we've seen this movie, like, and at least the two Sonic movies, we've seen it done well twice, and you don't see that very often, like for adaptations like that. And so it makes me think, like, if they do Mario very well, I would be like, I even thought a bit further ahead. It'd be insane if they brought like Sonic and Mario into like a crossover type of movie. Like that'd be way ahead, like obviously. But in my brain, like I'm thinking, like if both, like let's say of those production companies realize that, oh, like we can do like these video game movies and we do it well, and like we do it almost, and they kind of maybe perhaps do it the same way that Marvel did it, at least in their phase one, in that, and obviously Iron Man was like a very much an experiment for them, and they realized like, oh shit, like we can do this and do it well and make money. And because obviously like Iron Man did, like I think Iron Man, the way it was a success was almost unprecedented for them, because they didn't think that it was going to do that well, but it did very well, and it honestly like went beyond their expectations at one point. So, if that's why I'm kind of hoping that at least, despite all of our reservations with the Mario movie, especially like, and I know like we were primarily talking about Sonic, but this movie, and plus if did well, and plus I'm hoping if the Mario movie does well around, I think winter is when it's supposed to be coming out. Like it'll get me very excited, because I told David this, and I guess I'll tell you as well, Kyle. Like, I want an NCU. I want I want it. Like, and I think it also can be done. Like, I think it can very well be done. And
they literally said they want to do it. Yeah.
Like, I would love a Metroid movie. It would honestly just be like a ripoff of low-key Aliens, I guess. But it's like, fuck it. Like, I'll take it. I don't give a shit. I want a Legend of Zelda movie.
I know Brie Larson has been like a big proponent of those, like of being cast as Samus in a Metroid movie, and
actually be perfect.
But
I'd be on board with that.
Yeah.
But she has no booty.
Oh,
Samus
yeah,
has
that
big
is
booty.
movie magic.
We'll just like put it in post. We'll just give you the booty like in post.
Yeah, one last thought before I wrap up my thoughts. Again, I thought the movie was fun. Go watch it. It's great. The one big thing I'm praying for is like the biggest in reference to anyone that has played the games. I want them to blow the moon up. That's what I want. I want them to blow the moon up. That's like the biggest thing I want from this.
I don't want the entire monologue, but I do want Jim Carrey before they do that to say that he's come to make an announcement.
Yeah.
I really, really want that. I really want that to happen. That would be so funny. I will lose it in the theater if he fucking says that. Like, the whole thing will just go through my brain, and that'll be amazing. So that seems like the kind of like movie Hollywood spectacle thing that they would definitely do. Like, it's definitely one of those things that's about that. And yeah, honestly, like, I had it sort of spoiled for me that Shadow was at the end piece there. But, to put my final thoughts here before we officially wrap, it didn't matter because I knew that's where they were going to go. I knew Shadow was going to come out. I knew Shadow was going to come out. I mean, he's too marketable. Like, everybody, like, associates Sonic with him now at this stage in the game. Like, he was from, like, part of the peak of his franchise. It's like, that was just a no-brainer. Like, how they do it, though, like Dennis said, like, it's going to be impressive to fuck it up. It's going to be impressive if you fuck it up. Like, real talk. You have it in the palm of your hands, just mold that putty in the right ways, and just don't take a bite out of it. Just like mold it into something nice, easy peasy. Horrible analogy aside. Yeah, I liked it too. I honestly thought like some people who didn't like it were a little too nitpicky because I liked the movie for what it was. I didn't go in expecting like there will be blood or some shit like that or there to be like Shakespeare, but like literally it's a video game movie that was true and faithful to the source material that was at least coherent for the most part in its plot. Again, it wasn't the best movie I've ever seen or anything by any stretch, but I very much enjoyed it for what it was, and I'm also very much looking forward to the next one and the Knuckles show. And
Listen, all you can say is that like look at the Rotten Tomato score. Like a 68%, still pretty good. Like the people that are there to review it as critics enjoyed it, but it's got a 97% audience score, which means that the people coming to watch the movies are like, yeah, I saw it and I liked it. So that's all. That should speak volumes. It's a good movie.
Yeah,
it should speak volumes for the most part. But I mean, sometimes the same thing happens to Michael Bay movies.
Yeah.
So.
And I guess also just one last thought too. It's like, I know a lot of people like kind of review movies in their own way, and obviously like, they're like people will sometimes review a movie as a movie or review it as for what it is. And for me, like that's just like the two different avenues that I guess available to us whenever we're critiquing any movie. And personally for me, I like to go the route where like I like to review it for what it is. If a movie is trying to say that it is a very deep ass movie and it has very like deep meanings, then I'm going to go and like review it in that way. But if I know that a movie is, I guess Sonic the Shadow is not like Sonic the Hedgehog is not like a shallow movie. Like Sonic the Shadow, Sonic the Hedgehog is not a shallow movie. I guess in the way that I guess some people may think that I'm saying it is, but it's like it's deep in its own way in the fact that this movie signifies that again, video game movies can be done, video game series and adaptations can be done, and they can be done very well. So that's at least the way I'm critiquing it. In that, does it do that well? Yes, it does, and it does that in spades, and it makes me even more excited. Even though I'm a 28-year-old fucking man, it makes me excited for the next movie. Like, even though I haven't been, like, at least, like, genuinely excited, like, for a sequel like this in a very long time. And it makes me feel like a kid again, too. And I think that's also another thing that, like, the innocence that this movie brings out for a lot of adults that are, like, let's say our age, like, it's something that I think should be cherished and at the same time, like, should be, like, not something to be forgotten. Because we get tons of fucking movies every goddamn month and every week that like are so like whatever, like the way they are. Like you just kind of roll your eyes. It's like, oh yeah, that's another movie. Like, another shitty Scream movie, another Friday the 13th and this and that or whatever. But like getting something like this, I think it is very like I guess even like historically significant in that like we haven't gotten something like this in a long time. Like we really haven't. And I think it's just one of those few times where like I guess I'm gonna look back at this and be like, fuck. Sonic was a great movie and Halo sucked ass.
I genuinely agree with you because I really hope that it will help, outside audiences put some respect on video games and like have them really like see them as more of like a sacred media art form as to what they are, instead of just like, saying that treating video games like a secondary thing and cowering in a corner when the Game Awards were astronomically more viewed than the Oscars for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
You can either learn from the past, you can run from the future, or you can embrace it with wide open arms. And I really hope that the Sonic movies really assist in doing that, because we've never had really truly good video game movies yet, and now we got that in spades. So I'm really grateful that I was able to have one of Sonic's biggest fans on our show to really.
Yeah, thanks for coming on the show, Dennis.
Thanks, Dennis. Yeah, really appreciate you, man. All right, so me and Kyle will be back. Me and Kyle will be back next week. Tune into the DK experience.
Where we talk about our weekly Donkey Kong review podcast.
I want that 3D game so bad. But in all seriousness, Koopa, you're the best. I love you. Thank you so much for coming on. You're a good friend and an even better mentor and an even better friend and an even better mentor. So, yeah, where can they drivel with you and your shenanigans and your bullshit? Where do they got that going on?
Yeah, well, thank you guys for having me back. I appreciate it a lot. This movie was great. I love to have a platform to talk about it. So,
and guys, he's coming back for our Mario movie review.
Don't fucking tell him what to do.
No. Like, I like this, especially when we're discussing like shit like this. Like, I like this.
I will be here to criticize Chris Pratt's perforance as Mario.
And you will be there to like metaphorically hold me while I cry, because that is.
I might come to your house and hold you while you cry,
dude. I'd be down, because I'm gonna need someone to fucking hold me after that.
If you're inclined to check me out on the internet, I am at Koopa NJ, like New Jersey, across platforms. Like I mentioned, I am an esports commentator who travels pretty frequently. So if you're into that sort of thing, check me out there. I also host my own pop culture podcast, the Koop'd Up podcast. My most recent episode is a review of Sonic 2 with my friend and the manager of social video at Crunchyroll, Camelange, and Virum, if you're familiar with another esports commentator. I got a whole bunch of movie reviews up there. It's going to be a real busy season. Doctor Strange comes out soon. Yeah. Moon Knight's going to be wrapping up soon. So if you're into like Marvel content and like other review stuff I got coming on the pipeline, check me out there. We're at it's at COOP'DUpPod on Twitter. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and on Patreon if you're into that sort of thing. So make sure to check it all out there.
I'm still not putting shit to your Patreon until we get nudes. Anyway, you can, and in case you like this podcast, if and for whatever reason, you can go ahead and follow us at Double D Pod on Twitter and at the Double D Experience 21 on our Instagram. We were trying to really up our socials, and you guys have been giving us a lot of love there recently, so we appreciate it. Glad we were able to have guests on 2 days in a row. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio, Breaker, Anchor, Public, all that stuff that like people don't really listen to as much on, and also here on YouTube.com/Nintoonist, which is where I know most of you are listening to this from. Yeah, be sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends about the podcast if you liked it, because you guys are the ones that help us grow. So, we are done. Blue hairs everywhere, and red, and yellow. Not pink yet because Amy's not in there, and not black yet because we gotta wait probably two more years for that.
But the black is coming. Literally, Shadows just like dread it, run from it. Destiny arrives, all the same.
We hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. We'll catch you in the next one.
Maria, I love you.
I love you.
Shadows just played by like Joji. It's just like.
We'll see you in your dreams. We love you.
I love you.